Happy ReZero Day. And beyond Happy ReZero Day, it is the day. What day is it? Well, remember, I go live. How am I recording this video right now? How are people in chat right now talking? Remember, I'm live on Twitch and boom, right there. What day is it? It's Aura Monster Day. We have Fat Subaru doing cardio up the stairs. And if you want to come and watch, hey man, go on Twitch. I go live on my phone. And I tell you, click the link in chat to join live. What link? Right there. Boom. You pull up. Everyone's here. Just watching live, baby. You want to catch it early? Show up to Twitch. You don't have to, though. You can just wait on YouTube, too. So, the disturbing death that broke Subaru all over again. Episode 8 cut content. Let's get it.
Subaru losing his memories comes at a monumental loss for everyone. Amelia's lost her knight. Beatrice, the man who saved her from isolation. Rem and Julius, the only person who remembers them.
Rem is not a victim. I know that people are gonna get mad at me, but genuinely, what does Rem know right now? Fucking nothing. She AFK, bro. Now listen, maybe it's a nice thing to maybe like understand that she could still hear Subaru and listen to his words when he visited. But I think that she just is not existent at all right now. No consciousness, so no one has to worry about Rem. But we should worry about Rem because now nobody knows her.
Ram, the only living link between her sister and herself. Aridina, her best bet in getting Anastasia back. Then, most importantly, Subaru lost everything that made him Subaru.
Ooh.
We all knew he was the glue pretty much holding everyone together.
Did he lose everything that makes him Subaru, though? In my opinion, no. Because he is still him at the end of the day. And he can simply develop back. We lost a lot of progress, though. He's still him.
But now that he's gone, things just got a whole lot harder. Not only that, with one of the most brutal deaths eating away at whatever sane parts of Subaru were left, it's scary to think what might become of him when all of them are gone.
Aura Monster, that's what he'll become. I expect him to be like Subaru at the end of episode 15 when he returns by death in front of the Appa merchant, Rem's hand in hand as he realizes, holy shit, no more sad boy time. Now, it's time to be angry.
So, the novel describes his deteriorating mental state in very graphic detail, along with the deaths leading up to it and the conversations before.
No papa,
There's
though.
a lot that explain why certain things happened and the choices certain characters made, so if you want to learn more about this tough time for Subaru, here's everything the anime left out from this episode.
But first,
what if I told you there was a way to watch seasonal anime with better subtitles right here on YouTube?
I always know, bro. I always know. Just want to see his like recommendations feed. Max to Meek guy, new hot takes, anime balls deep. It's just fun to watch. Rimuru versus... Oh, this is like extra cut. This is like light novel content we can't touch.
There was a way to watch seasonal anime with better subtitles right here on YouTube.
News Asia?
Well, with today's sponsor, Surfshark VPN.
Okay. Shout out to Muse Asia, but this is a Surfshark ad.
By simply switching over to a server in Singapore, then heading to the YouTube channels Muse Asia or Anyone Asia, a whole collection of legally streamable anime titles instantly become available to you.
My god.
Whether it's Tensura and ReZero or Classroom of the Elite and Wistoria, all are accessible for far cheaper now. Just head to surfshark.com/AniNewsVPN and get yourself a massive discount plus 4 extra months for free.
4 extra months!
Anime on YouTube isn't the only benefit though, as there's numerous features making your online experience better too. The Clean Web tool blocks all ads, trackers, and malware.
Wow.
Camouflage mode hides your usage from your internet provider.
Wow.
Spam's prevented, your
What are you trying to hide, bro? What are you looking at?
data secured, and so much more on any number of devices you want protected.
Okay.
So, if you're interested in a more secure and versatile online experience, or even just want to gain
Right over here.
access to more seasonal anime, just use the link in the description or head to surfshark.com/AniNewsVPN.
Use the discount. AniNews VPN. Get him the money. Sponsor link in chat. Go help him out.
But anyway, episode 74. Who Are You?
Who are you?
Covering chapters 1 and 2 from volume 23 of the light novel. The Subaru we know might seem like a pretty amazing person, but the Subaru of old was about as average as one could be.
He was pretty
If
mid.
there was one thing that differentiated him from the rest, it was the fact he tended not to show up for class.
This is how I view people who are going around just yelling, ha 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 ha, Natsuki Daniel, happy birthday Daniel. This is how I see you. And these are like the regular people that are like What is wrong with you? You are so fucking corny as you just yell so loudly and bravely in front of everybody that has no understanding of any of these fucking TikTok fucking source material memes. And you LARP around saying these lines. And the average people are like, this shit's so fucking cringe. But you know what? You still have the right to be cringe. And if this is what take for ReZero to go platinum for global, you want the meme marketing? Hey man, I welcome the Daniel memes.
Him from the rest. It was the fact he tended not to show up for class. In fact, where most people typically dealt with life by making a series of difficult choices, Subaru's specialty was running away from those choices.
The classic.
He was a bit better than most at running away from the things he didn't like. So, when it came time to choose between going to college or finding a job,
hell no.
Subaru instead just stopped going to school completely.
One of the most privileged things that you could do. I think he also acknowledges the privilege though, right? He hates it that like he won't get punished, that the parents are still accepting him and providing for him because they love him so much. Other people, they can't afford that privilege, but that's why this problem is very interesting. Where like he comes from a really loving family. They're pretty decent well off too. They gave him everything, yet he's still fucked up and he feels guilty because of it.
And before he knew it, he'd become the exact type of delinquent most parents wept over. This was the Subaru that was here now, officially a high school dropout. More importantly than that though was the two girls trying to figure out whether or not something was wrong with him. Beatrice was stunned and her hand trembled as
I actually never understood his age. Well, how is he actually high school graduate? Is he 18? I never really questioned how old he was. Cause like he's 17, 18. It sounds like high school's gone and he didn't go to college. He's 17, huh?
She hung on to his sleeve, but as much as it hurt to see her that way, Subaru couldn't do anything to reassure her.
Emilia-chan, bro. No more EMT. It's EMC. It was actually so sad.
He was too caught up in his own confusion to spare a thought for her problems. It was when he took in the current state of his body that Subaru would notice all these scars on him.
Has he even checked his leg yet? You think the hand is bad? Look at your leg.
They weren't something
yeah.
Subaru really minded himself, but he did feel guilty when he thought about what his parents might think.
This scene is still so funny. The proportions of mom and dad's faces, they're so like squished. Dad looks like a frog.
It was another issue to throw on the pile of complicated feelings he felt between him and his parents. Subaru's subsequent introductions would proceed pretty much the same, then at breakfast Subaru would meet even more attractive people. That was the one thing he felt
attractive
they all
people
had in common, making him feel bad as the only person bringing the average down.
Like appearances, looks? They're all looks maxing, huh? I mean, have we seen an ugly character in ReZero? Like just ugly? Everyone is pretty aesthetic, you know? And you don't have to think too much about it. Of course, in the work of fiction, you want eye candy. You want to make characters look attractive and sexy and pleasant for the eye. Betelgeuse, I think, is also handsome in his own way. Even when he went hollow, like his cheekbones sunk in, like he has some sort of like crackhead monk aura going on.
Subaru would meet even more attractive people. That was the one thing he felt they all had in common, making him feel bad as the only person bringing the average down.
I don't even think Subaru looks ugly. I think he's just average. He's not like some super handsome like Rudius from Mushoku Tensei. I think that's actually you just like a European model. Subaru is just an average guy. Not ugly, not like overtly handsome. A nice 7 out of 10. Right on the dot.
When it came to meeting Shala next, she would make an interesting comment about how this wasn't the first time Subaru forgot her.
How many times?
If those words were to be taken literally, then perhaps Subaru, or in this context the sage, loses his memories more times than we might think.
And the fun part about this is how he loses the memories. Do you really think he's lost those memories every time in the past due to gluttony as well? Because like right now, I think it is gluttony with Rui, right? If it's not, then womp womp. But there's a lot of different ways to lose memories, like violating an oath, right? The pack stuff, gluttony, and whatever other reasons.
Either way, according to Shala, this wasn't the first. When Ram tried to separate Subaru after, Her back and forth with Amelia would give Subaru clues as to what his role was. Ram had mentioned Subaru being a servant to Roswaal, so that led Subaru to think he was some sort of errand boy. Immediately, Amelia would try to correct that, but before she could finish, Subaru would joke about being lovers.
They should have included that. Just him being fucking cringing core, like in season 1, just out of nowhere, just talking. You're just mentioning lovers jokes.
That, but before she could finish, Subaru would joke about being lovers.
Oh,
She
classic.
was, after all, exactly his type, but as far as he was concerned, she was way out of his league. That's why Subaru felt
This like inclination towards silver-haired elves too. There's something there, man. There's got to be more to just like rather than just liking a certain type of person. There's something deep within going on that spans across perhaps 400 years.
he could joke about it, him feeling nothing when she stated that they didn't share a romantic relationship.
Ouch.
Subaru would then tell everyone that it was fine that they didn't. That's why Subaru felt he could joke about it, him feeling nothing when she stated that they didn't share a romantic relationship.
They don't though? What about the kiss? That mean nothing? I feel like after season 2, there was actually some meaningful developments happening. And then, what? Nothing at all?
Subaru would then tell everyone that it was fine, calling Amelia and Beatrice in ways the original Subaru never would. That much we saw for Amelia, but what they didn't
That's right. The nicknames, they just ain't hitting. This face is actually so sad because she's like smiling, but it's like painful.
show after was Beatrice's reaction when he called her Betty.
Oh,
It was a far cry from the Bayako that she was used to hearing.
yeah.
Seeing her expression definitely hurt Subaru because for him, he didn't like letting people down like that. So when Ram confronted him the most aggressively out of anyone, all Subaru could do was apologize for not being able to live up to her expectation.
This scene in hindsight is actually really funny. Cause like Ram, not only is she being so fucking mean and hostile, I love how she also said, "You're pretending, aren't you? What do you got right now? What are you cooking up? Let me in on the plan, bro. Let me in on the secret. Why are you pretending to be like this?" That line, the more I think about it, it's just so funny, and it kind of shows how much like she believes in him, like believes in his ability to get results. Because remember, in their eyes, this guy has just solved everything every time perfectly. So it does make sense that Ram would get suspicious and be like, "You up to something again? Let me in on it."
It was clear she was desperately trying to cling on to something that he had forgotten. In the end, all Subaru could do was apologize. Apologize for forgetting, for not being able to answer her, and so much more.
Bro don't even know
As
what he's
they
sorry
were now,
for.
Both were helpless to the circumstances they now found themselves in.
Gotta say, she was going overboard. I get it. She's upset. Now Ram is alone left to take care of Rem, and she barely even fucking knows Rem. She just believes in it. And now she feels like the only savior is gone, and now she's crashing out. But goddamn, was she being overtly mean? Dude, it's kind of crazy how fucking rude she was.
Now, it was on the way back that Subaru would overhear a conversation between all the others,
The gossip.
specifically Amelia telling them why Subaru would never joke about something like this. Because he knew just how painful it was to be forgotten, Amelia knew he would never joke about forgetting someone. They were words that carried with them absolute trust in Subaru, but to the Subaru of now, he didn't think that at all. Perhaps they were meant for the other Subaru, but as he was now, he felt no one should have faith in him. It was once Subaru had returned to the room that, as we saw, Julius would reintroduce himself. Ram did say in their conversation Subaru's treatment of him was cruel, but for what reason Subaru didn't know. And while Julius did consider themselves friends, the truth of the matter was that he wasn't sure if the real Subaru felt the same.
The breakup, and you're never gonna have that resolution unless he gets the memories back, which I think is gonna happen. But it's actually so sad. KFC incident, it's Gojo Ghetto, not to the same degree, but the last thing he remembers is the breakup.
If the Subaru of now was to make an opinion off an initial impression, he did say Julius looked like the type of person he'd snap at the first time meeting him.
Yeah, because he's handsome.
In any case, with Anastasia's confession coming right after, Ram's blunt assessment of the situation left Subaru with zero confidence at all. He understood they were here to ascend the tower and find a way to wake up Rem, but with the group unable to progress and Subaru being one of the reasons why they couldn't progress, As much as he felt bad about it, Subaru was ready to call this mission impossible. It was right as he was about to say it that's when Amelia would be the shining ray of hope for everyone. That was enough for Subaru to look forward with reckless determination, a feeling Subaru was probably mistaking for decisiveness.
I love the pose, and I love how Amelia can just, she kind of, that slap is kind of crazy, the amount of damage it did to her face. Ow. But she is hauling ass. She's the one being the leader of the room. She's actually stepping up to the plate, even though, like, everyone is so insecure and doubting.
For decisiveness. You see, because Subaru had forgotten just how great the barrier in front of them was, Julius felt the need to remind him the dangers of overconfidence. That one remark was all Subaru needed to get a grasp on how his relationship with Julius used to be, fully believing they weren't quite friends or enemies. Because
what are
of
we
the
then?
clear emotional distance between them, Subaru felt whatever relationship they'd had was built gradually. A surprisingly on-the-mark read, considering he'd only talked with Julius for a minute.
Look at that, man. They're destined. The connection that they have is so important. He still, like, naturally gets it.
It was after that Aridina would share more information about her relationship with Anastasia, unsure what to actually call herself. At first, she called herself a friend, but when Amelia questioned how deep the relationship actually was, she helped Aridina see they were actually family. The existence of a contract wasn't what solidified their bond, but rather how much the two of them cared for each other. Aridina would then explain why she decided to reveal all this now, also mentioning that Subaru was aware of her secret first. Ram was of course pissed because to hear Subaru had kept yet another secret from her, well, perhaps he tucked his memories away with all his other secrets.
Yeah, I guess it becomes, like, doubtful, the suspicions. Ram is, like, not in on it. She's not getting all the intel. I guess it makes sense, and the tension is all high.
Millie would then add fuel to the fire herself, after which Subaru would make quite the funny remark.
World War Lolita. No more lollymancers. The lollies are now turning on him.
Then came the talks about how Subaru ended up like this, a conversation that eventually made its way to Shala. With Shala continuously calling Subaru master, finally Subaru would ask why that was. Normally, he wouldn't mind having such a woman chase after him, but something was off regarding her affection. Unlike how Amelia's or Beatrice's felt earnest,
Genuine.
for Subaru, Shala's was fundamentally different.
It feels programmed, artificial, not genuine.
In the end, Julius would state what I'm sure everyone was thinking, and that was the clear detriment of not having Subaru to support them anymore. He didn't mean to say it as if they all relied on him, but the truth was, Subaru supported all of them tremendously.
Yeah. Now we're seeing the gap. And I kind of want to see the rest of the party fail. Like, just to kind of demonstrate how important Subaru was. He has been the one just, like, hauling ass and figuring out plans and solving everything for everyone. Remember in season 1 in arc 3 in the bed, when he tells Amelia you have a debt you can never pay back, but he also says, like, it all worked out, didn't it? Every fucking time. I made sure it worked out, right? It did. Unsung hero.
So, now that he was gone, all of them were feeling it. Now, in the anime, the group would exclude Subaru from going to the archive, but in the novel, they would actually take him. It's here everyone would...
Is everyone else a bum then? No. I don't think so. They're competent in their own regards. But it's like, everyone else is a tool, like in Classroom the Elite, and Subaru is like the uniter that brings all these tools together and then figures out how to use said tools to solve the problem. But has there ever been, other than Al, has there anyone really that's just been out there fucking planning and just, goddamn, putting in some fucking work? Otto? Roswell? You could say Roswell. He had his own separate plans though. I think Otto for sure in season 2. Right? Who else? Al in season 3, he's just doing his own thing though.
Learned Subaru could no longer read or write anymore, so in the words of Ram, he was useless baggage here in the archive too. Still, they would continue looking for answers anyway, and when Subaru suggested putting all the useless books away into a pile on the floor, Aridina would say how that would likely break one of the tower's rules.
Oh.
You'd think where the episode ended, Subaru would have no prior
Yeah, what does it mean to disrespect the library? I don't know, but that could be it.
knowledge of those rules, but it was here in this moment that everyone would explain it to him. They would tell him he could neither disrespect the archive nor try to leave, and if he did, Shala would transform into a merciless killing machine.
We might see that. What does disrespecting the archive mean, though? Like, you spat at a book. You didn't put the book in the right place. You did put the book in the shelf, but like you didn't put it all the way in. Like, it's a very general. What does disrespect mean here?
The thing is, considering how ridiculous all that sounded, Subaru just assumed it was a joke. He just couldn't see Shala transforming into a murderous Terminator, despite her literally referencing one of its lines.
Hasta la bye-bye. Hasta la vista, Terminator. Arnold?
Plus, with Subaru not being aware of her inhuman strength, he wondered how dangerous someone like her could be anyway.
You better find out.
In any case, with Subaru not being able to do literally anything, all he could do was sit there and wait. This was exactly what everyone wanted him to do, even making him promise he'd stay with them. So, unlike how in the anime everyone was fine with leaving Subaru on his own, pretty much all of them felt he needed to be watched. Based on the results of his actions, they couldn't trust him to just sit around and wait anymore.
True.
It was in the meantime that Subaru would get more acquainted with Meili, one of two people not
Sus.
helping with the investigation.
Very sus.
She was, after all, brought for one job only, so anything else she couldn't be bothered with.
Based. Just here, just eating food, and you know what? She got dragged here, and now she's stuck here. Why the fuck would she really want to help? I mean, you should help the team. Maybe get you out of the fucking watchtower faster. But what if this is her mission? To bring Subaru to the watchtower, and now it's time to kill him.
The other person not helping was Shala because, according to her, she couldn't read or write either.
Oh, she's
Just
illiterate.
talking to her would lead her to make her usual advances on Subaru, actions he found rather unrefined for a woman. This was apparently something Shala's master would always tell her, yet another thing that never changed about him.
Flugel and Subaru like dignified, graceful ladies. Not this ratchet-ass fucking bimbo.
Now, I couldn't tell you what Shala's implications were behind the choice of her words here, but I think she and Subaru were talking about two different things here.
Let's read this. Changed or not, you're still you, so who cares? If you just do what you want, how you want, then I just go along. That's all that matters, says Shala. Even if that leads to some weird results, if something weird happens, then I'll just open up a path forward with brute force. You might have forgotten, but that's just how our relationship works. Blank. He couldn't sense even a whiff of ulterior motive in her frank answer. The moment her true thoughts on the matter hit him, Subaru's eyes opened wide, and then he looked away from Shala so she couldn't see his face. The result? We talking about sex right now, and Shala just talking about just how Flugel and Shala used to do shit. She just runs it down mid with brute force and things work out.
Either way, with the nature of their past relationship laid out right in the open, Subaru would be embarrassed by what he thought she really meant. He would then hide his face deep within his knees, waiting for the investigation to turn up nothing.
What do you mean open brute force? Are we talking about Subaru brute force opening up Shala, or the other way around? Subaru is the one that rather get whipped than whip himself, right?
It was after that's when Subaru would be testing his newfound abilities, only finding he had more endurance. His strength was a bit more noticeable too, but not in any way that one would call a divine blessing of sorts.
Physicality
he would also
improved.
test a series of iconic transformation poses, but as far as powers went, he had none. So
you can still use the authorities, but he doesn't know how to use, I guess, invisible providence now, huh? Like, fuck, none of that matters anymore.
As much as Subaru wanted to be the guy that everyone could rely on, it seemed all he had was bonds he couldn't remember.
And no EMM, no EMT, no shared Biko magic. I don't know. Maybe Biko can be the one driving, and Subaru himself doesn't have to do it, but I feel like it's all gone right now.
This, however, was where he wanted to be, and with the place they were in being all he had, Subaru wanted nothing more than to find the strength that would allow him to remain. He didn't want to be the same Subaru that was always receiving and always consuming. Still, the more evident it became that Amelia and the others were worrying about him, the more he hated himself for taking up a place he hadn't earned.
And then what does he do? The feel the need to like do stuff by himself, feeling he needs to contribute, and that causes more problems and gets more fucked up. It's a vicious cycle of like wanting to be better, wanting to save the day, but doing it by himself, not asking for help, and then looping and looping, and that's basically season 1.
That's why while everyone was discussing how to approach the Subaru situation, Subaru would be out in the hallway figuring out if he had powers. He would also ponder all the possibilities of how he ended up like this, considering the trials he accomplished and the trials he was yet to accomplish. He was well aware a test of strength awaited them up on the 2nd floor, but as much as his kendo skills made him better than an amateur, he wasn't so foolish as to think he had actual combat ability.
Okay, this is still a crazy sequence that I think I talked about in the season 1 reactions. The way that he was moving was unreal. A fucking neat, a shut-in, he's fucking dueling and dancing with Elsa. And now I'm sure Elsa is not going all out, right? But what, dude? What? This what? It's crazy.
His kendo skills made him better than an amateur. He wasn't so foolish as to think he had actual combat ability.
Unreal.
It was once Subaru was done with his experiments that, in an attempt to get back to base, he would end up at the staircase. Thoughts of his old self filled his mind as he pondered the architectural oddity that was this staircase, leading him not to notice he was falling until it was too late.
No!
That said, as far as deaths for Subaru go, this would be quite the tame one.
Yeah, this one was not bad. The first one, it's scary, falling, obviously, and then you go splat and you're done. It's not too bad compared to the others, but what if you pinball? What if you hit every single part possible as you fall?
The only pain he felt was the burning sensation when starting to choke on his own vomit, but aside from that, Subaru would be unconscious before he even hit the floor. With that, I guess we can restart the counter now, so with death number 1 bringing with it the confusion of not...
We were at 23 up until this point, huh? Only 23. 23 is a large number though.
Knowing he had even died, Subaru would really lean into the idea that his superpower was precognition.
Dreams.
It was a really hit or miss, hard to use ability, but if properly harnessed, it could definitely be powerful.
This is better than the first loop where Subaru took like 3 tries to figure out what it could be. He didn't even have an idea after the first death. He immediately thought of something that actually kind of makes sense.
That said, knowing what was gonna happen didn't make it any less painful when it did. So, when Beatrice had to set aside her emotions and speak courageously with heartbroken eyes, the way she trembled hurt far more than it did last time.
No, Betty.
Even when she resolved herself to put up with him anyway, to Subaru, these relationships were nothing but sandcastles. The foundations were certainly there, but that's pretty much all there was. And to the Subaru of now, he was certain that wouldn't be good enough for the Subaru of old. Subaru would then manage to gloss over the fact he somehow remembered their names, proceeding with his day as closely to the first as possible. He wanted to test how accurate his prophetic dreams were. If he did have this power of prophecy though, then what Subaru found strange was the fact that no one had commented on it. I mean, considering how powerful such a thing could be, Subaru found it hard to believe that all these people would keep it from him.
Yeah.
That being the case, the natural explanation then was that they just didn't know. That in turn meant old Subaru never told them, making new Subaru wonder why they didn't.
Try it, bro.
That then planted a small seed of distrust, all stemming from the question of what was Subaru thinking?
Man, Anastasia looks so fucking menacing. You know what? Julius looks menacing. What the fuck? Why is he making that face? That is Julius, right? He's wearing red here, but it looks like Julius, right? Oh, you can't see. Sorry. My face is covering. This is the light novel art that is also the one that was used for the season 4 promotional picture, right? The Subaru in the middle and like glass shards, you know, breaking. It's really cool. Oh, also, complete tangent right here. But Gachi Akuta also. Gachi Akuta season 2. They released a new promotional picture, and boom! The moment that I saw this, I was like, Clash of Clans. Why am I saying Clash of Clans? Because Cause this, right? Cause this. I don't know. Something about just glass shattering and then like characters existing in such shattered frames and main character in the middle, right? It's not the same, but it's similar. I like this. I'm a big fan of this actually. It's very artistic. There's a lot of, and it's not like as if ReZero invented this either. This was been happening for a while. There's other examples too, but anyways, looks pretty cool. Anyways, what the fuck is his face? What happened to Julius? Why he's smiling like that?
That the anime made very clear, but what the anime didn't show after was the way he acted differently. In fact, with reliving everything being like watching a movie for the second time, Subaru couldn't replicate the same emotions he did the first time around. So, when everyone was reeling over the unreasonable situation they found themselves in, Aridina would comment on Subaru's rather calm demeanor. He was clearly the least disoriented out of all of them. Really, he was dealing with all sorts of emotions, just not the ones everyone was concerned with right now. There was sympathy for their efforts, guilt towards his abandonment, distaste towards the Subaru he was supposed to be, then all sorts of negative emotions constantly mixing together and growing.
Negative emotions.
Despite his best efforts to replicate the previous loop as best as he could, Subaru's change in behavior also changed the mood. Compared to last time, things were off. Still, he would manage to lead them to the archive anyway, Subaru feeling overwhelming guilt for effectively deceiving everyone. In fact, the only person he felt relief when talking to now was surprisingly Shala.
What?
Because she treated him the same regardless of whether he remembered her or not, Subaru found a bit of comfort in that.
That's nice. The girl that he found kind of off-putting because it felt inauthentic is actually the one giving him, what's it called? What's the word? Not circumstantial love, but like basically no matter at what cost, they will always love you. Like a dog.
Her or not?
Unconditional.
Subaru found a bit of comfort in that. Once Subaru was back to where he was in the previous loop, a lot of time would be spent trying to figure out the specifics of his superpower. The more questions he asked though, the more he felt he would end up in butterfly dream territory.
Zhuangzi dreamt he was a butterfly flitting and fluttering around, happy with himself and doing so as he pleased. He didn't know he was Zhuangzi. Suddenly he woke up and there he was, solid and unmistakably Zhuangzi, but he didn't know he was Zhuangzi, who had dreamt he was a butterfly or a butterfly dream. He just self-hypnotized himself. He just dreamed so much that he became it, bro. He's no longer a human being. He became the butterfly. What am I?
A terrifying state where thoughts went in circles and questions remained unanswered.
Okay.
The premise was to question the fuzzy line between...
Zhuangzi was not sober when he wrote this. There's no fucking way. Look at his face, bro. He high off the fucking rockers of the devil's lettuce, imagining he's a butterfly.
Dreams and reality, so in Subaru's case, he wondered if he ever really woke up from his dream, or was the reality he experienced now just another dream?
It's just a simulation?
To him, the only way to find that answer was to go past where his dream had ended, after which he would commit to telling the others about it. He was so desperate to change the situation that now he was willing to do something old Subaru never did.
Oh?
That's when Subaru would overhear their words of doubt, a conversation they may not have even had Subaru not acted so strangely before.
Yeah, all the negative talk.
Subaru's behavior would be a key reason cited for their suspicion of him. It's not like they didn't trust the Subaru of old, but this blank slate Subaru was far different. Much to the point that Ram would straight up say he couldn't be trusted. Trust was clearly the pain point half the party was dealing with, so when Melee...
Here's a really fucked up thing. I personally want them to conspire against Subaru. Just like in Arc 2 of how we thought we were friends with Ram and Roswell. Turned out they thought we were the most suspicious the entire time. Right? And they were planning and scheming. If some shit like that happened this arc, because he just being so weird and different, I think it would hit really hard.
Much to the point that Ram would straight up say he couldn't be trusted. Trust was clearly the pain point half the party was dealing with, so when Melee suggested they just ask him if they could trust him, that's when Subaru would run away.
Big brain
he
just
had
asked.
every intent to speak up and break the ominous vibe he was feeling, but the tension was far too much for him to handle. So, just like in his past life,
Run
Subaru
away.
was once again running away from life's tough choices.
Just like
Whether
his
due to the
character.
miasma or just the overwhelming pressure of everything, it's important to note the miasma definitely is still affecting him.
So the miasma from the basement, of course, but there's also every time he dies, the witch's scent grows thicker and thicker. Now, it's weird because it feels like they're separate entities right now.
The only reason it's not mentioned in the novel is because the concept of it isn't something Subaru is aware of. So, considering the miasma is still this ever-present toxin, its effects on people's behavior should definitely not be forgotten. In any case, with the group showing they didn't trust Subaru at all, Subaru's feelings were hurt in a way that he currently couldn't manage. He didn't expect them to trust him right away, but he was at least hoping they'd have a little faith in him. What he'd heard back there, though, was zero faith whatsoever. It's for that.
They're not wrong though. He's taking it the wrong way. But he's also, that's how it's a very normal reaction. What they said was mean, but he is a liability. He is dead weight. And having him around, I think, is actually more dangerous. But I think that there should be a guardian looking over him. Having him alone creates even more issues. And now, like, he feels betrayed. He feels more isolated than ever. He keeps running away. And now we have this like perfect storm ready for him to become the aura monster.
Reason Subaru now saw himself nothing but a fool, since what he thought was at least a sandcastle of trust was in actuality just him greedily trying to claim what the old Subaru had earned.
Ooh.
That's why he felt they wouldn't believe a word he said. If anything, the whole situation was hopeless from the start. He couldn't prove he had his powers, and he couldn't be the Subaru they wanted him to be, so with nowhere to go and no place to fit in, Subaru knew he had nothing. What happened next was what could only be described as a recurring hell. Pain that refused to let Subaru go. The anime does a fantastic job animating it, really highlighting what the novel grotesquely describes as Subaru becoming nothing but a lump of flesh.
He did.
He had already lost his memories, but now he
lost all the limbs too, I'm pretty sure.
He was losing his form. In the end, all that was left was a sack of blood. A repeatedly malformed thing that couldn't even be called Subaru anymore. His existence was quite literally shattered now.
Memory's gone, and now even the physical vessel is turned into just blob. That's actually, the death is actually more symbolic than I realize.
It was this pain that would overwrite Subaru's very being.
But also, in talking about symbolicness, are we at rock bottom? Have we reached rock bottom? I feel like we haven't just yet. We're about to. We need to go a little bit more with Subaru crashing out, and then he usually learns the lesson. I don't want him to learn the lesson though. But that's what created, again, the greatest redemption arc of hitting rock bottom and begging to lick Priscilla's feet and then subjugating the white whale. Like, what?
Enveloping every emotion until the world itself was pain. Everything else just seemed worthless, so when that pain was finally released and Subaru awoke, his only thoughts were to escape the pain that was surely coming back for him. Eventually, the thought of pain transformed into the thought of death, so now Subaru felt that that's what he was running from.
Bro is dead.
It was as if he could hear death's footsteps approaching him, so out of desperation to get away, he would run without thinking. To Subaru, death had come for him already, so why was it that it was coming for him again? It was a suffocating sensation that made him feel like he was drowning. It was when he ended up at Raid's that at first Raid was willing to let him go.
Okay.
He just told him to come back with the girls, but when Subaru ignored him, well, we already know what happened. It was after that Subaru would take the time to try and make sense of everything, finally coming to see where it was he went wrong. You see, Subaru had made the mistake of trying to run away from everything. He couldn't handle the events of what had happened in the first loop, so when he came back a second time, he created a convenient excuse that made sense of it for him. He'd even gone so far as to think of the whole situation as someone else's problem. That he now knew was a grave mistake, and by not facing the problem head-on like how he should have, he was now facing a world of suffering beyond his wildest dreams.
This needs to happen to Numachi in Hana Monogatari right now. If you guys don't know, we're watching Monogatari too. Like just like on Patreon, we'll release like full compilations later. But what's the whole theme about Numachi right now against Kambaru? Just run away from your problems, bro. Don't confront them. Forget about it. And if you do, your life will be better. You just forget about it. Well, no, It actually builds up in the background and it gets worse and worse, and this shit happens.
All he could feel was futility, loss, despair, and negativity, each of which made him yearn for the life he'd lived only hours ago. The voice Subaru then heard after was the very thing he was trying to run away from.
Death?
It was death finally caught up, ready to take him again.
The Shinigami.
Not only that, this time Subaru could see the very face of death, and the visage mocking his entire existence.
It was himself!
None other than his own. So, with death being him and him mocking who he was, Subaru refused to be killed by himself.
Interesting how death showed up in the face of himself. Why? Why would his image of a Shinigami, a Grim Reaper, just death, be himself, mocking himself? Because he hates himself? Self-loathing? I feel like there's got to be a deeper meaning here. I want Tappe to explain this, but I feel like it just has to do with him running away from his problems and mocking himself and his self-loathing as he hates who he is.
If he was gonna die, then so be it, but Subaru was hellbent on making sure it wasn't him that caused it. So, for the first time, Death's smirk would finally change.
Oh, this is a crazy scene. This is also like the first time that it was hinted that Subaru is a potential finger vessel, right? Betelgeuse at this point has been taken by Puck, but then Betelgeuse hopped in his body and he started laughing. He's like, why is he laughing? Is he just going mad? Like, no, this shit was foreshadowing.
Shifting into an almost annoyed look. It seemed upset that Subaru wasn't gonna do what it wanted, and that in turn filled Subaru with life again.
Okay.
The more Subaru carried on, the angrier Death got, up until Satella came in and shared what could only be described as an unimaginably powerful emotion with him.
Love.
Subaru had a tough time putting to words what emotion that felt like, but if he combined every time any person in the world had ever said I love you, to him, that would equate to her I love you.
Oof.
That was just how much passion Subaru had felt from her.
And he has no clue who she is, except this some weird connection and familiarity he can't describe. Look at that. Literally stroking the heart. Feels like she gave him, again, a therapy this time. It was heart pats, not gripping his balls and warning him, hey, don't you dare reveal, return by death.
That passion then turned into pain, as the way she caressed his heart made it seem like she was doing so out of jealousy.
Never mind, she was gripping his heart. Dude, it looked gentle in the anime. She was like, there. You fucking twisting the balls right now too?
It was a sensation strong enough to make Subaru piss himself.
That's right, he did piss himself. And the other cut content mentioned, apparently he pisses a lot. Look at the scene, it looks like he's caressing it calmly.
A sorry state Death was once again mocking him for. Now Subaru could only think he'd been duped, punished for thinking he was strong enough to beat Death. In the end, Subaru could only see everything as a punishment for being weak and punishment for being foolish. All he could do was cry as he wished for Death to just take him already.
He should become Death. If he embraces Death, will that be the Aura monster?
That's a pretty good spot to end this episode, since what happens next starts in the next chapter.
Okay.
Be sure to subscribe if you want to.
Of course. Please check out Mr. AniNews. Always go give him a like on the video and check out his other content if you enjoy these type of reactions. I love his, summaries and cut content stuff. This one was just basically delving more into just Subaru's psyches and how he felt guilty, just like useless, self-loathing, all the typical that we've seen in season 1. The death stuff, again, the kid kind of talked about it, right? Of it's just like, what the hell? There's just this thing that is haunting over Subaru as he has to face the Subaru. It must come from his, symbolic hate for himself. And now we go into the juicy part. Who actually killed him? Does it even matter right now? Not as much, because what is he gonna do from here on out? How is he gonna change? He's mentally broken, sad, depressed, and now we gotta get angry. We haven't gotten angry just yet. I'm very excited for that. Anyways, go support this man, and I'll see you in the actual reaction.